In the previous unit, I introduced a general organization pattern of public speech. In this unit, you'll learn more to structure different types of speeches. To prepare your speech, you may follow a common speech outline. The organization pattern above is commonly used in public speaking. If you look at it closely, you see units of reasoning in the body section. That is, main point followed by evidence and supporting material. Why? Reasoning should be adequate. If one piece of evidence is not enough, you need to add more. We'll talk about this in the following unit. Here, I want to emphasize one thing. A strong argument is based on units of reasoning. Please look at a practice formula of 1 unit of reasoning. Thesis statement, and then you use because, and a sentence follows, and then you use in other words. After that, you explain, you will say, for example. At last, you conclude, you say, therefore. So, thesis statement is the main point. Words like because, in other words, for example, and therefore, they serve as transitions, indicating logical relationships among different fragments of the unit. Because will lead in your brief conceptual reasoning. To give further explanation, you use in other words to illustrate the key concepts mentioned above. After because. To help your audience understand and accept your point, you use more supporting materials after, for example, or other types of transitional terms. When you are done with this, you use therefore to indicate a wrap-up of your talk. Look at the following mini talk. When you see your professor in the lounge or walking across campus, greet him or her by name because it's applied etiquette. In other words, this is a good opportunity for personal contact to impress your professor. He or she will appreciate your polite greeting and remember you out of possibly hundreds of students. Some students fail to do so because they don't know what to say. Actually, a quick hello or brief self-introduction to remind your professor of who you are is enough. Last semester, I bumped into one student in the hall whom I was teaching. I waved at her with a gentle smile because I know her, but she kept walking as if she didn't see me. This made me a little bit embarrassed. What happened to her? Or did I do something that made her feel bad? I thought to myself. And soon, I ran into a young man greeting me by my name. Then I spotted him in the large class and asked him to answer a question that day. He did it well and impressed me. Later, I invited him to work with me in a research project, and we co-authored a paper that got published afterwards. Now he's a section director at a leading media group. So from this experience, I want to tell you that greeting your professor actually is a necessary etiquette. You never know what we'll end up with. Sometimes you may want to persuade people to take an action to weaken or strengthen a commitment or to converse their belief and replace with another. This is a time you need to deliver a persuasive speech. When you prepare a persuasive speech, you may use 2 popular presentational structures. To help you remember them, I gave them names. One is ANSVA, and the other is DEPA. Lots of people fall into the trap of setting up a persuasive, just like informative speech. So when they say, oh, I'm making a persuasive speech, actually, they are making an informative speech. Then how to avoid this pitfall? Here's a new organizational style to learn from. Monroe's motivated sequence. Actually, it is ANSVA I mentioned just now. It organized step by step to motivate the audience rather than focusing on a specific subject. It's used a lot actually in sales. Below are the steps, and I often use an acronym of ANSVA to remember them. So, what do ANSVA they represent? First, A stands for attention step. It means you get the audience interested in the topic at hand. Number 2, need step, N. So you convince the audience that a problem exists and there's a need to solve the problem. Third, S, satisfaction step. So when people have a question and they want to solve the problem, they are looking for solutions. And now it's time for you to tell them what can help them get out of the trouble. So satisfaction step actually explains the proposed solution to the audience, satisfy their need to solve the problem. And fourth, visualization step. You give the audience a concrete idea of how the solution you propose will solve the problem. Have them literally visualize what it would be like to take part in the solution. So there's a before and after contrast. Fifth, A, action step. You call the audience to action. Get them to commit to enacting the proposed solution. Tell them bravely what they need to do. So you can establish attention in our introduction, convince a problem, and satisfy it in the body. Then use visualization and action in the conclusion. And this is ANSVA: attention, need, satisfaction, visualization, and action. To better understand this ANSVA pattern, please see the following animation of a commercial promoting a detergent. A boy is playing soccer and gets dirty. Mom pops up and uses a detergent to wash it. A scene occurs comparing before and after effects by using detergent. And the mom at last promotes the brand of the detergent and asks you to buy it. Sounds familiar? Yeah, this is ANSVA, Monroe's motivated sequence. In addition to Monroe's motivated sequence, you have another option to organize your persuasion. I call it DEPA. The structure is problem-oriented. Look at the following steps. Step 1, description of a problem. That's D. You introduce a phenomena related to a problem or how serious the problem is. To arouse their attention, make them feel there's a need to solve the problem. Step 2, E, evaluation of the problem. You assess the causality or consequences caused by the problem and demonstrate why it is necessary to solve the problem. When your audience agree with you on the problem, they develop a desire to manage the problem. Step 3, P, proposal. Propose something to solve the problem. Then you satisfy their needs by providing suggestions and reason why your proposal will work. The final step, step 4, A, action. Action to take. At the last, you relate to your audience and tell them what they can do to help solve the problem. You see, by following these two formula-like organization patterns, you may quickly come up with a convincing speech. In this and the previous units, you've learned basics of speech organization and two formula-like structures for persuasive speeches. Next, I'll show you how to use supportive evidence to build up your argument.